one of these ones, you know, you can get ready for it.
Yo.
What's up, bro?
Fuck, you get taller every time I see you, bro. I swear to God. How are you, bro? You alright?
Good, brother.
All good.
Me.
Just came alone, eh?
Yeah.
All good. I thought Jackie Boy might be with you as well. Looks a little bit different, but we'll set up a little yarn section there, bro, and then me and you can actually go for a cruise in the lamp. Yeah. If you can fit inside the bloody thing, we'll see. How do we wanna set it up?
Yeah, just get Nav in the middle, bro.
Yeah, it might be easier, bro.
All good.
Yeah. Thank you there. So this is a little bit different to what we kind of have been doing with the other guys, but we thought this might actually be a bit better, so we can both kind of be involved, bro.
I want to just start off by telling us, obviously, where you've come from, why you started in MMA and all that.
Yeah. It's a long like kind of yarn about it, but I'll say like probably started when I was young, more of like the fear of fighting, and like a lot of people get into fights in school and stuff like that, and then I never really thought I could actually fight, but I was kind of moping around wondering what I was going to do with my life. I was about 18, just working. I didn't want to just follow the herd and take up a trade or go to university and study, because it just never really interested me. And I know I've always had like a good like work ethic physically, so I was trying to find like something that I would, you know, could smash harder. And I thought about joining like the army and stuff like that, and then I think it was around 2015, it was like my first year out of school, like Conor McGregor was like a big thing, and like, cause seeing him train out of Ireland, which is not like an MMA known place, and like bringing his like team up and staying loyal and moving from the ground up in his own country. He didn't have to go to America and all that, and hearing him speak so like confident about himself and how much of his desire was bringing him through, they like spoke to me, because I'd never seen anyone speak like that before, and I'd always been told like, oh no, you have to be at the big gyms in America, or we don't have the coaching here in New Zealand or the funds, we didn't have government funding and all that. Neither did he. He was, you know, taking welfare checks and all that.
Where were you? What was the area you're from actually?
Wellington, Upper Hutt.
Upper Hutt,
Upper Hutt, which is like not much. It's just like a rugby town. A lot of people doing tradies, drinking at the pubs.
Yeah,
you know,
so I guess it's less MMA. So
So MMA is not even a thing where I'm from. And I didn't know how I was gonna get amongst it, but I was just like, you know what, I really like this MMA stuff, like it looks cool. I reckon, I don't know if I can fight, but I'll give it a go. And I remember I saved up like everything, like I started working, I saved up everything to kind of chase this dream, and I kept it to myself because I don't want to tell anyone and then everyone like discourage me. So I kept it to myself. I moved back home, stayed at home with my parents, and I like was just looking for like a local martial arts gym. I was like, let's just start off with like kickboxing. Well, like that seems to be like a big thing. And then the more I learnt about it, the more I learnt that we had like really good fighters in New Zealand. And I didn't even know who they were, but they were like big greats and stuff. So I started watching all their footage, and then I was like watching YouTube and going to training and trying to pull it off. And I remember I rolled up to my first sparring session, and I'd done all this like big move. I saved money. I watched all these YouTube videos. I like trained myself for like, I think it was like 4 or 5 months straight. I was training myself. I went to the sparring and I saw these guys. I didn't think like they were athletes or fighters. I was like, oh, I reckon I could take all these guys. And these like guys were like 60, 70 kilos, were just absolutely annihilating me. And I remember like the first day I was like, shit, did I just quit my job, move everywhere, do all this thing just to get like a hiding on my first day? And I was like,
60 kg.
Yeah, and I was like getting smoked, and I was just like so disheartened. But I just figured like I've already done everything so far to get here. I'm not gonna just like back out now because I can't, like I don't know what else to do. So I just keep going, and then to the trainer was like, oh, do you want to fight? And then I was like, yes, and my eyes lit up, and I remember jumping in, training up for my first fight. I also didn't know anything about like training camps or peaking and stuff, so I like went like as hard as I could. Like I was like trying to train like 4 times a day. And I was like, I like burnt myself out in like the first month, and then I like had to re-pick it back up again for the next 3 months. Trained, had my first fight, and then after that I was like, this is for me, right. Because I don't have to worry about like people, you know, getting subbed on or subbed off. It's just you in there, and when I'm in there, I just felt like the spotlight was on me, and like although I wasn't as good as I thought I was going to be, I knew what I had to work on, and I just kept chipping away over the years and kept building myself. And then it got to a point where I was like, what makes like a fighter different? And I was looking at Conor McGregor and how he was so pushed himself out there. I tried to like kind of copy that and start doing my own thing on social media. And
I think he started that, Like he was the first. I mean, he was obviously probably the greatest of all time at that.
It's crazy how many people he's inspired around the world as well, you know. It's
even
pretty
to
insane.
Think that, exactly. Someone like yourself in New Zealand, Wellington, getting inspired by him is insane.
And I remember, I just like blocked everybody out and just put myself out there. And I know a lot of people like laughed and took digs at me like behind closed doors, but I just didn't care at the time because I was only hanging out by myself. And all I did was just I started bleaching my hair. I started to create like this persona things that I thought was cool, like my ring workout music and stuff. I've had all that stuff since day one, and like the more serious kind of niche, as opposed to like the clown or the big gangster or whatever. My favorite kind of movies are like Troy and Gladiator and like all of that stuff. So I always try to make myself look like a warrior, you know, and or like a hero kind of brand, niche sort of thing. And I tried to just stick with that over the years. And like a lot of people like take inspiration from it or think it's cool.
I guess it's worked for you, right? And that's exactly what you have to do. I think if you're just bland and don't actually like have a brand, bro, you're not recognized, and you're not, I don't know, people can't relate to you as well,
What gym were you at down there?
So I started off at a small gym called Archangel Martial Arts and Fitness, and that was run by like a former King of the Ring champion, Sonny Vanathy. He won the 62 kilo like twice, and that was when I kind of like learned about King of the Ring, and I was like, what's this King of the Ring stuff? And then he would like kind of told me about it, and then I started watching it and like looking at the previous winners, and I started to see like guys like Israel Adesanya and that, and I was like, whoa, who's this guy, you know?
King of the Ring is actually pretty nuts, the whole setup is like...
and there's like not really people that are doing that around the world.
I don't think there are, because they can't imitate that, right? Like having that many fights in one night, if you're actually the winner, you've had like 3 fights? Three
fights, and you could go like a maximum of 12 rounds.
I guess it gets harder each time as well, technically, right? Because you're fighting the guy that's also won.
No. It could go a max, like if some guy went through Hell's End, like he would be going to a 4th round every fight. But you could be the crazy thing about it is you could go through 2 like, you know, wars, and the other guy on the other end of the pool might have just got 2 first-round knockouts. And he's coming into the fight fresh, and you're like battered and bruised, and you've got to somehow suck it up and beat them. But usually the guy that I still haven't seen it, but usually the guy that like gets the quick finishes early, they always go on to like win, or if they have a hard fight in the final, they have like a little bit more they can push through. It's just too much.
It's like, I don't know, that even that one that you were fighting on that other time, bro, some of these guys were so tired come the last fight. You can't blame them, bro. They're just like cooked, like they've got marks everywhere. Especially the heavyweight one I watched recently as well. That one, that was next level, bro. That last fight was just like, I don't know how they even manage that, because they're big boys as well. To be
trying to dig.
How many fights did you have out of Archangel?
I had only like two or three, and I had those, and that was when I was like, okay, I talked to the coach, and he said, we're kind of just doing this as like a fun thing, but if you like want to get into a more serious one, we recommend moving to the Lion Pit. And there was like a gym in the city. So then I had like moved into the city and met the coaches, and they basically told me that they were like a startup gym as well, but they're looking to push more fighting, and I was into that. So I just said, well, I don't know what the criteria is, but I'm always like willing and able to do whatever I have to do to help out, and also get as much fights as I can. And then that was where I made my name in New Zealand, was fighting out of that gym, and I won King of the Ring out of there, so my first one out of that gym. And that I always wanted to win it like there, so that people would like recognize me before I had like done a big move to City Kickboxing.
It's like you rather than the brand, because City Kickboxing is well known, so it's nice to actually win out of like a smaller gym, I guess, out of Wellington.
How were you funding yourself when you're like?
When I was there in Wellington, I was working daytime. I was working as a temp for a bit, and then I got a full-time job. And I was like, for work, I was like unloading like 40-foot containers. That was my job. I was a container like unloader sort of thing. And
training during the day, pretty much.
Pretty much, like we were like 8 hours in the sun. Just crack open the containers. We get through like 3 or 4 in a day, just constantly unloading, and then pretty much straight into training. Like my body is just like built for just straight up manual labor. Like I'm not the smartest up here, but like I can go. I know I can go all day long. You know? And that mainly was just kickboxing training. I hadn't done MMA, and then when I moved here, that was when I started MMA training and realized like how like tender your body gets. And I couldn't keep up with that kind of work anymore, because when I first got here, I was doing like picker packing, and that was horrible, because I was kind of trying to train twice a day, pick pack like big like 30 kilo like flour bags. I was like stacking those, and then
like my back is sore just like
you do that 8 hours, bro, and even when you're doing it, like people are like, they're telling you to go faster. You know? And you're like, you want me to go faster? I'm going as fast as I can.
I fucking want King of the Ring.
Yeah, man. But like some people, they don't know. They don't know that about that, and they don't care either. And it's all good. Like I fully understand, but I just like let them know, like, I can't do this anymore. It's just too much for me.
Hard, I guess that's like the hardest thing. If you don't come from like money, or don't have like a good support system in that way, it's hard trying to train all of that time and then earn money to actually go to training.
It probably makes it so that you train harder. Like even for us when we were starting up, I reckon if we just came from silk sheets straight away, you're not going to wake up 5 a.m. in the morning, go drive to Wellington and pick up a $300 car, you know what I mean?
That's a good thing. Like although it is hard, and like if there's any other fighters out there trying to, or it's not even fighting, it could be anything, like just having to like go through those hard yards, it is good for your like growth,
100%.
And just like I always told myself like eventually I'm not going to be here and things are going to be a little bit easier, but for now like this is just like what we have. So you literally have to learn to work with what you got, and just kind of trust in the process, like something's going to happen. I used to be like driving the forklift and I'd be like daydreaming like about fighting and like
that dude, it's like do the thing and then throwing combos.
I would just be thinking about it all day. Like,
were you throwing combos at work?
I was like thinking about it. Sometimes when I sleep, I like get jitters, like because I think I'm sparring, and I like, I'll wake myself up because or like someone hit me and I'm like I'll wake myself up.
Yeah, it's crack up. Yeah, I guess if you do it so much, your body kind of
like that.
Yeah, but you definitely.
I used to work at the checkouts, and I used to dream about the checkout shit. So it's just if you're doing things every day, you're just gonna do it. This guy's just so used to it.
What age group, like what age were you when you first started, and what are you now?
I I was about 18 when I first started training. Had my first fight at 19. It was a novice fight, and then I'm 25 now. I just turned 25. So.
And when did you turn pro?
I turned pro at 21.
21.
So I had my first pro
that's
fight.
Pretty nuts. And have you been at the same weight class the whole way, or did you grow? Like, did you go up or down?
So like as a novice amateur, I was fighting around like my walk around weight, which was like 95 kilos, 92, 95. And I used to just make that weight like walking like just any day. And then as I gotten bigger, I have to like kind of cut weight to make that weight, because I walk around at like 105 now, so I'm like bigger, I think, just with age. And probably still growing, but
that's pretty big.
What's the weight cutting process like for someone who doesn't know anything?
Actually, I don't know.
It's definitely a science, because people hear it and they go, there's no way. Like I've done up to like 9 to 10 kilos in a week, very easily as well. Like that was not hard at all. Like it all kind of comes with experience, like over the amount of fights I've had. I've done it so many times. I kind of like take away small things and add things to make it easier over the years. But it's a very much a science.
Is the weight cut like the whole training camp, or is it towards the end where you actually focus on like dropping the weight?
A little bit of both. So like obviously if you're like a little bit thicker, you'll want to bring your weight down slowly through diet. Like maybe like you might be losing like 500 grams to a kilo a week. I'll usually do that maybe 4 or 5 weeks out from a fight. Get my weight down to about 100 or 99 kilos. I like to be around there, and then 102 at the max if I have like kind of biting up a bit. But usually I'll get to that about 100 and then do the last 7 on fight week. And that's just all like water weight methods. You just like drink a lot of water and kind of put your body in like a flush mode, and then usually it all falls off you, depending on what food you're eating as well.
Weight cut for bloody summer, eh? So I might have to hit you up for 9
kgs.
Drop 10 kgs right before New Year's or something.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Like it's just the small things like that, or like cut the way, like at least doing exercise every day. And it doesn't even need to be like super crazy. And then the main thing is just heaps of water, and then cutting out small things like sugar and all that. And just having like a whole foods diet. It doesn't even have to be like salads. Like people think it's all like salad and chicken breast, but I have like real full fed meals, like really, really healthy stuff. But it's like,
can't be like processed stuff.
I'm just not like cutting out carbs or anything either. Like I just eat like really good food. Like you can just look at it and be like, that looks good, you know? And then
like made well at least. Not like processed.
So you were 21 when you turned pro, and then you were at that gym when you first won your first King of the Ring. Was that your first King of the Ring as well that you won?
So I turned pro at 21, and that was when I fought my first pro on King of the Ring. So I actually lost my first King of the Ring that I jumped on. I went on, I fought like a pro, I can't remember his record, but he had about 20 to 30 pro fights. And I lost to him by like a split decision or majority decision. It was one of the two, but it was a very close fight. And like I was real disheartened, because I had like dreamt of this big win, and I wanted to take it out and be a young guy. But I was kind of good, because it like kind of humbled me a little bit, because I thought, and took a bit of pressure, because I was undefeated at the time, and I thought I was the man. I thought like I could do no wrong. And it was like a big hit to the ego, but eventually, like my coach said, you know, you're still young, like you did better than the guy in the semis that fought him, because he's another world-class pro, and he lost to him, and you had a better fight than him. So you've got like a lot. You're still up there, like he said to me. You know, you're not just like a fill-in. You know, you're actually there. It's just the experience. And you're super young. And then so I come back the next time. Just like guns blazing, like I was so confident I was going to
fight that guy again?
Nah, he ended up moving to Australia and fighting over there. But
we'll get that one back.
We'll get him back. We'll find him, bro.
I don't think he's fighting anymore. But
doesn't matter, bro. He's got to his house. We gotta get him, bro.
Nah,
stand outside. Come outside, bro.
Me and him are good friends. He's cool, Fo. So
cool. What was his name?
Fo Alam. He's pretty cool. I actually seen him on the weekend for the other King of the Ring.
Awesome. No,
And then the second kick in the ring was the one that you won.
Yeah.
Easy,
That was the one
easy
that I won.
wins kind of thing, or what are we doing?
The guy in the final was real good. He was a veteran. He'd been in King of the Ring for years. Nato Laoli, big Islander guy. He was like even bigger than me, and I just remember like hitting him with everything, and he was like still standing. You know, I dropped him in the first round. He managed to get up, and then he just kept fighting his way through.
Some people are just crazy tough.
Yeah,
right?
he was built, man, like big, thick Islander. I was, you know, hitting him with big shots, and they were just like,
yeah, some people
bouncing
can
off
just
him.
absorb the
Yeah.
fuck, you
He
see some
absorbed
shit that you're like,
everything.
what the hell?
and he was losing his first 2 fights, so he was losing his first fight, and then managed to come around at the end round of the last. They went to a 4th round. He knocked him out.
way.
Knocked him out, and then the second one he was losing the whole fight, and then knocked him out in the last round.
And you're like, no.
Yeah, so like people were like saying to me like, he's still got something.
Yeah,
you know?
do not.
And my parents were watching like,
Oh, fuck.
just hold on, you know, like you're gonna win. Like don't stuff it up.
Yeah, one of those ones. Fuck. So, bro, in terms of like moving, so from the Lion Pit, right?
Yeah.
And moving to City Kick. Why did you move to City Kickboxing? And also, like, is it like a bit like sour when people do that kind of stuff? Like, do you have still connections with the Lion Pit and stuff like that, or?
Yep. So like I had talked to my coaches for leaving, and they just said, you know what, we've been trying to do the best we can for you, and we actually think this is a good move for you because they can just give you more opportunities.
That's a good coach, though.
Yeah,
That's good
yeah,
coaches,
they were
though,
awesome. They were just like, we think they can do so much for you than us. And my brother was training there at the time, so I said I'd spend the Christmas with him straight after I won King of the Ring. So when I went in there, I had like a huge target on my back. Like everyone was like, oh, this guy, like probably thinks he's the man, you know. Like, but I was just there to kind of, because I was thinking about moving, just to train there and see what it's like. And I was like, man, these guys train like all day, every day, like during times that like people were at work, you know. So that was when I was like, I need to get here somehow, and talk to Eugene, and he just said, yeah, like, you know, if you come here, we'd have the roadmap set up for you to make it to the UFC, and as short as like 2 to 3 years, you know. And I'd never heard anyone say that to me. And then when I just went home with a mission after that Christmas, just like how I was going to leave my job, pack everything up, you know, get someone to move into my place. And I just threw everything in my car, sold all my other stuff, and then drove up. And I stayed with a friend. They had like a spare room for like $200 a week. And all my friends did like a big like leaving party sort of thing, and they gave me like a lot of money to use until I got a job and found myself settled in.
Oh, that's cool. Like,
What stage was City Kickboxing at that point? Did they have any UFC fighters like Dan Hooker and stuff?
like
was he in?
Israel and all them.
Oh,
like,
they were
they
already
were all
in?
still in, yeah.
And were they pretty welcoming, like when you went there?
Oh yeah, it was like they knew who I was, and it took me probably like a whole year to get like fully like in with the team, like you know, because they get so many people like coming through the gym. It's almost like it's hard for them to like kind of open up to everyone around them. But
it would be hard. It wouldn't be easy for sure, bro. Because there are so many people that go through that gym.
Yeah.
I actually trained at them for a bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, but just it was a bit too good, bro. They just, I just couldn't keep up, bro.
Yeah.
But, it's a great gym.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. There's like, if you're actually like fighting in terms of like interested in that, there's just so much going on all the time. It like motivates you hard. Obviously, there's different levels. Like you can see like 10 different levels of fighters in the same gym as you walk in, but it's definitely a really good setup for that. But it was just interesting, like I was wondering like how the actual move from the Lion Pit would be to go there, but your coaches sound like they're actual good coaches rather than just like, you know, get butt hurt if you're like losing someone. It's a
little different, like starting there from the ground up, because you know guys like you see like all the interviews of like Israel or even me or whoever like talking about how they started and got into it. A lot of people think like I want to be in the like kind of the same way I thought, but they go to City Kickboxing with like a lot of expectation, like oh hey I'm just new off the street, I want to be a UFC fighter. It's hard for them to take you seriously when you just rolled up, because usually those guys come in for a week and then they go home. So
they realize
and it takes a long time for guys to get recognized at our gym to become even an amateur fighter there. People are training there for like 1 to 2 years and still haven't had a fight, and like to you kind of have to make it your lifestyle and still be there because you're still like.
It has to be a lifestyle, right? If you're fighting, it has to be. You have to be dedicated. It can't be like going like 3 times a week and
and hoping for a fight.
And fair enough. To be honest, it's good that the gyms don't just chuck everyone in the ring because it's not like for everyone. You can't just go in there like novice. Sometimes I've watched some fights where I'm like, why is that guy in the ring? Like it's actually dangerous for some people, you know, like just getting in the ring, or when they're like real mismatched or something like that. And that might just be from that, obviously, like just doing like 2 or 3 days a week and then jumping in the ring. It's kind of like, unless it's like one of those charity ones, it's a bit risky, like if you're fighting someone that kind of...
Yeah, because those ones are pretty good because it's like, you know, they have like the 2 teams, they all train up, no experience. They all train up and train as hard as they want for a first fight. And usually they go off, they're starting to take over like boxing and stuff now because for people's first fights, like a lot of people come for like someone's first fight. It's a big thing, and that's why they sell out crazy.
True. Because everyone wants to see the first fight, eh?
So City Kickboxing, you moved there, what year was it?
2021, so March last year.
March last year, so you've been there, what, year and a half now, kind of
thing?
been
about a year and a half.
True, so you've only been there and a half, okay.
Yeah, so I've made a lot of big moves there and had some good fights already under the belt and like fully into the team now. And,
Did you do 2 King of the Rings from City Kickboxing then?
One of each, so one for Lipa,
because he's won twice.
He's won twice.
And then I won one at City Kickboxing.
That last one wasn't King of the Ring. He was just fighting.
It was just a title.
And then fight. You just had your pro MMA debut. When was it? A couple of months ago?
2 weeks after, which was September 23rd. So that one's good because it gets me on the map now, and now like promotions can open up and be like, okay, this guy's got a pro experience.
That's it.
He's from a recognizable gym. He has a profile. Everywhere on all platforms.
They can search you as well.
Now it's like getting into it.
Now it's the start, eh?
Now it's trying to build that highlight reel. The MMA highlight reel. Put it out there for, you know, the
start
UFC
getting your brand out there as much as you can, bro. That's what you need to start doing. You're a likable guy, so like the more you actually get in front of the actual screen and people know who you are.
Just more camera time. That's why, like, I just finished like a small doco as well. That we did, just kind of like what I explained, how I got into it.
Yeah, it's interesting, bro. I think that kind of stuff is interesting, and it gives people like something to think about as well, you know, because it's not always just easy and like, just join this and that, blah, blah. You've obviously gone through the hard yards. Are you still working at the moment now as well?
Yep, so I work as a trainer and I kind of cover the reception at YMCA. And that's pretty good because it still allows me to work and have a bit of like a more casual flow to it. It's not as serious. And
what kind of training is it, like PT or like actual like kickboxing stuff?
I try to do mainly my own PTs, like kickboxing. But most of the time it's just watching over like a gym floor and just doing like normal shift work, or covering the reception. I also take like a bit of basketball there as well. Because
was that your other career, basketball?
I saw some random things. I think it was doing pretty well against the boys in New York.
That was in New York. We played in the backyard and I had to cook everyone up.
How was that? That was your first trip out of New Zealand, you said as well?
So that was my first trip out of New Zealand. I was supposed to go to Thailand and all over the world in 2020, and that was when COVID hit, so I kind of stuffed myself there. But then, they flew me over because I was like one of the main training partners for the fighters for the UFC. So they brought me over, and I was pretty much there just to train and spar and give the looks that they needed, Carlos and his, and it was a good, crazy experience for me because I got to actually see the UFC production and how they do things and the weigh-ins, the timing of it all, what fight week looks like. I mean, because we're there with the champ, you know, like we're getting all the championship access. Like watching them do the amount of media he's got to go through.
Fuck, it must be crazy, eh?
Yeah, like literally it's like 9 in the morning.
His schedule must be like
He's got his manager there. Tim's like right, this has got this and this. So we all had to leave the house. He was doing like kind of stuff like this for like the whole 12 hours, well, just with like different people.
You get like
he's got ESPN, then he's got bloody, you know, all these podcasts and YouTube channels.
Lucky he's high energy, bro. I swear you'd get like drained, like if you can't like keep up with, because by the third interview you'd probably be like, fuck, bro, I just don't have the energy to keep this up, bro. You know, stop asking questions, especially some would be repetitive.
Yeah, I think he knows like what it requires, and that's what kind of I've been trying to get in the mindset of, because I usually like, I was kind of like every other kid, like, oh, yep, sweet, all good, yo. But I realized, you know, like when you're in this sport, like you're an entertainer and you're a personality, like people want to know more about you. So the more I've done it, like I've done so many interviews and podcasts and docos now that I'm like getting better at it and more open to speaking. And just kind of give the people something to like look into, which I think more Kiwis need to do, because I can think of like a lot of like big champions, King of the Ring champions, and just big New Zealand fighters that you guys would be like, holy hell, who are these guys? But they just like hide under the blankets, you know, and they don't want to show themselves. And I just wish more Kiwis would push themselves out there, you know.
It's I guess it's just a bit scary as well, bro. And you do get like a little bit like nervous, even for us the first few times we did like any kind of recording. You kind of like, you don't know what to say, and you can't be yourself, you know. I think a lot of times when it gets really good is when people actually get to know you, you know, as yourself. So once you get past that little weird little thing, and you can actually get past that, because I can imagine at the gym and stuff like that, you guys would have like a lot of good times, and there'll be some really cool people, you know. But like you said, it's like, how do you get that to like, you know,
you want to get that in front of everyone, because
so everyone can see like how enjoyable that kind of stuff is.
So they do a pretty good job of like covering, like engage and all that, like covering the coaches and the banter that goes on. But sometimes for the camera you got to be a little bit animated, just to give people something. I'm still trying to work on that, like while I'm training, because usually while I'm training I'm like super serious. So like when I get on the camera, I noticed in my last camera we were trying to shoot the footage, I found it real hard to add stuff, just a small thing, you know, and even that was hard. I was just so focused on trying not to punch this guy, or you know, trying not to get hit. And he's like, looking at me, and I'm like,
I guess it'd be a bit weird, like especially if you're sparring and shit, and then someone's recording you, you kind of would probably be like, I don't know, you have to be aware of what they're doing as well, and I don't know, it'd be a bit strange, Yeah,
it does feel strange, but you know what?
Probably get used to it, bro. It'll probably be the more you do it, the more you get used to it. You know, it would have been.
Sorry, carry on.
I was gonna say it would have been probably just the same for like Izzy and the other boys as well. You know, at first it would be like a bit hectic, but then eventually you get used to it. Like he's so good on the camera now, even compared to when first probably started. He's just way more comfortable.
Did you enjoy America as a whole?
I mean, it felt like the whole time I was there, it felt like I was in the movies, like just all the accents.
Similar to Hamilton, bro?
Nah, man, like it was just like all the bloody New York cop movies that I watched growing up, and I was like, far out, like this is it, you know. And I'm like thinking about Spider-Man when I'm there, and I'm just like buzzing out. But the food is definitely like not. I didn't really like it that much. Like I just was looking at some of the like ingredients they had.
Unhealthy,
high processed stuff.
A lot of ingredients. Like I was looking at the bread, and it's like real sweet. Like I'm having like wholemeal wraps and wholemeal bread, and it's like tastes like I'm having like brioche bread, like real sweet. And then like I wasn't familiar with some of the brands and some of the everything. One thing I noticed about America is like all the logos like jump out at you. Like you can't like go past like a gas station without recognizing it, because it's like all bright and lit up lights, and everything's like flashing like that. And I'm like, we're like driving down this motorway in New Jersey, and I'm like looking at all the like logos. Like they definitely do like pay attention to like all the advertising and really push it,
For sure.
And just like the amount of people, and then like so much people hustling, you know, like I'm like wondering like how these people are here, and
it would be
they
so
get
competitive though, bro. That's why.
But there's so many people, bro.
But so many brands with so many people,
true.
so many companies, so many businesses, so many people trying to make it. It'll be like a rat race and a half. You know, especially in those like in those like New York, for example. You know? Those cities.
It'd be hard to make it, but I reckon if you make it, you'll exponentially grow so much.
There's so much potential, just humans. Like if your brand does well, you've got how many people to like sell to. New Zealand max is like what, 5 mil or something like that.
Yeah, but they
even
got
if you do well,
stupid.
they probably got 5
amount of
mil in
people.
one little town or city or something like that. Yeah,
Honestly, like each state feels like a country. You know, like
it would be compared to New Zealand.
we went to Princeton as well, one of the big Ivy League schools, to watch the wrestling, and even there it was just like seeing all the how like flash everything was, and they got like all of like the state of the art like equipment and training. They got bloody jobs for every coach. They got all these coaches, you know.
I guess that's why, bro, they're so competitive in the world and everything, you know. It's because of that. Like New Zealand, bro, like school, and I think about my school growing up and stuff like that, we used to have like flat soccer balls or rugby balls and stuff like that. You don't really have many, like equipment wise, you don't have much, let alone coaches and stuff like that.
Like you go there, they all got like kits, training kits, they got warm up kits, you know, playing kits, all these coaches around. Like, man, these big schools and the funding they get.
It's mentality though. It's because they know that they can produce world-class people. But in the NZ, it's like, you want to be world-class? Like, what do you mean?
You're only New Zealand.
Dreaming, you know? You're in New Zealand. You're not going to be world-class kind of thing. So I think that mentality kind of needs to change here. Even growing up, through the schools, we need to be able to... I mean, some of the... city schools like Kings and all of them, I think they're starting to do it a bit more, but like the North Shore ones where we were, like Long Bay and all that, they would never ever think that you're going to be a world-class anything, you know. So it's kind of, I think that mentality kind of needs to change. Even in business, I think it needs to change. Everything it needs to change. And we can compete now, like we're worldwide, you know. Globalization has made it so that you can compete anywhere you want online, basically.
Yes, I believe that.
You're not limited like
you're not limited like you used to. Anyone can make it from anywhere, basically. Bro, did you go to the after party at the UFC thing?
So, that was cool. It was funny because, like, we all went there, and like, I think I was with like Dan, Carlos, and all them. Israel didn't actually make it because he was too busy doing like all the UFC media, and we didn't get out of the stadium MSG till like 2:30, 3 in the morning.
Really?
So like by the time we got there, it was just like kicking off. But I remember just taking photos with just my friends that had flown over from New Zealand, like Jack and that, and people thought I was like a big famous guy as well. So people wanted to come over and take photos of me.
You are a big famous guy. What are you talking about, bro?
But over there, man, they were like, "Oh, you UFC fighter!" Like taking photos of me, and like they're like, "Can we get a photo?" And I was like,
they go on the website, like, "Where's this guy?"
I was like, "Yeah, sure." Like I was just taking photos of everyone. And I was like,
but that's gonna be cool though. Imagine for that person, then you do become like obviously into UFC and all of that, and they're like, I remember this guy. He told me he was in the UFC.
So I can just do the old, you know, that's gonna be gold in a couple of years.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's gonna be gold in a couple of years, all right.
I saw that thing on Izzy. Apparently, he said that he's going to go and then didn't go. Did you see that article online? He was like, for the after party, apparently he told Dan and stuff, like, meet you guys there or whatever. And just didn't end up coming.
I think because it was like late and I was like closing up. Like, we didn't get leave till like 5 in the morning. And I think he started doing all the UFC media.
Yeah, true.
They'll take ages, bro. They'll do your head and because there's so many different like reporters and everyone's got 1 million questions, bro. Especially after a fight like that, you know. They'd be like hectic.
And then so we all pretty much like left to there.
When did that end? The party.
I think it was about 5 in the morning, and I went to go buy a drink, and drinks was like $20 for the drink, and I went, maybe not.
Guess I'm sober tonight.
I was like, that's probably like $30-40, like NZ. But after I took photos of like all these people wanted to buy me drinks anyway, so I was like,
wonderful
for sure. But we ended up getting like a whole bunch of proper 12s come out, brought out for us. But so that was good, and I ended up.
Was that where you were with Dan and Carlos? Was that right? Yeah. Did you guys get like a little area? And
we had like a VIP area.
Who was hosting? The UFC was hosting the after party.
No, it was some
club.
It was just some nightclub.
Oh right. So they just had the after party there. All good.
It was real good too because I had like my friends that I'd flown over. They were trying to get in because it was like because you got to pay like heaps of money, and I just like we like got off the bus with the big entourage and all the the security are real dramatic. Like, get out of the way.
Yeah.
UFC coming at you. You know?
Yeah, I can imagine them being
I grab my friends and I like put my arms around them like as if they just come off the bus and then snuck them all in. Yeah, it was good. But
how was it for like Dan and Carlos, or even maybe if you're in a team, for example, and then your teammates lose but you win, are they like conflicted in how they feel or whatever?
Yeah, for sure. Like especially like sometimes everyone's winning. They've got 3 wins. Maybe 3 wins and one more guy to go, like they feel the pressure, so we try to keep it under wraps at the time. Like when they hit them, like, we're going through the roof, like yelling, because we have to watch out their back. But you do have to be a little bit more reserved, because like the next guy's going up, and they're feeling the pressure. That's just not for just the UFC, but for all of our fighters. When we go to fight shows and we have like 3 or 4 fighters on the card. But we were gutted, after Brad and Israel had lost. It's the game. Like we were kind of, I was upset, but then after seeing Israel come out the back, like how well he was, and he was clapping and a big smile on his face, that made me feel better, because I was feeling horrible. I almost felt like it was like I did something wrong or something.
It would be like that. I guess it's like that guy takes a loss better than anybody I've seen ever take a loss. He's insane.
That's how you have to take a loss, though.
They can't beat him, eh? Like they're trying to bring him down, but I mean that inspired me. Like like he just took it like. It's just like any other day.
I think when you react like that as well, it's like no one can bring you down. Like, shut up, bro. We lost. Like, it's like, whatever.
It is what it is anyway. Life can't be that serious where like that kills you, you want to take losses.
And look at where he's got to. Like, shut up. Made it all the way there from New Zealand, bro. And he's been smoking everyone ever since. And to be honest, he was winning that fight too. I don't know if he told you, bro. I was like, at the Friday Jams. Drunk ass, bro, and I was just like, he's won overs. Izzy's got him, bro. I think I jinxed it, bro.
And then there's guys put on like 20 TAB bets on fighters, and he's lost every single one. And it's always like 100% they should win, but he puts this bet and then they end up losing. So this guy's like the ultimate jinx. So I might have actually jinxed that fight, because I was like going around to everyone like, Izzy's got this. We had like this circle we had made. We had like put the fight on in the middle of Friday Jams, and random people were just like crowding around, like watching it. And I was just like pretty pissed, and I was just going like, he's won, he's got him, screaming, bro. And then next minute, this dude's like, bro, he just lost. I was like, fuck. It was a bit, So just let Izzy know that Riz is there. That he has no training or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna be involved in anything else ever again, or bet on anything, but. No, that's cool, bro. It's obviously would have had a lot of fun there, right?
How has your life changed in like the last year or so? Because I feel like even since we've kind of met you, I feel like your presence and all that has become a lot more known amongst like Auckland and all that.
Yeah, like it made me realize how much Auckland like follows the fighting and how big it is here. Like everyone's got like a cousin that knows someone, or it's all like kind of rooted into Auckland.
Bro, fighting in general in New Zealand, I've always said, bro, growing up it's like something you do. Everyone's had a fight at school. You know what I mean? Like it's just part of like New Zealand. I feel like New Zealand culture is just into that. When you grow up at school, you get into fighting, and then now we watch fighting. I think we do have it ingrained. It's just never been to that like professional level where people actually start doing like MMA and all that kind of stuff. But definitely I think it's like a big thing. That's why I reckon if we get the right amount of like people supporting the sport, we can do even better in the world.
And it's just there's still like the old whiteheads, like going around like, it's bloody rooster fighting, like I'm hoping that like as I come through the like kind of the roots, and while everything's like still growing and it's turning into a sport, I'm hoping like I can kind of pave the way for other young Kiwis and stuff like that, for them to be like, this is an option, for some people with like a lot of pent up aggression or like thinking about doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. Fighting can be the way, and with my story can relate to some people, like not doing much, and if they can get into like an MMA gym and push it there, that'd be cool. That's something like that I've kind of realized that I've that I could touch on, like as I've been getting a little bit bigger, you know, and gonna continue to grow. A lot of people are starting to recognize me, and like everywhere, like they see me at gas stations all the time. Even on the road or driving here, someone bloody tagged me in a video driving the car. So
juicy.
Yeah, no, it was good.
That was a trick. Well, that's good, bro.
I feel like people need that mentality that you had towards fighting and we had towards cars, and it's like you're so obsessed with this thing that you're not even thinking about how much you're doing it. You're like, well, I just got to go to the gym 4 times a day or whatever it is. I got to change my life because that's what I want to do. And if they find that thing in their life, that it becomes easy. Like, I don't know for you, but for us it wasn't. I was waking up, oh my god, I have to go find this car and buy this car or whatever. It was just, well, I just know I need to do this to make the money because I like, you know, I enjoy it.
Yeah, you kind of like push everything out of the way, like everything doesn't matter, and it's like super easy to focus on that one task.
And it's passion, bro. If you really love this thing, it just feels like you could do it so easily, you know? Like getting up isn't a problem, doing it over and over again isn't a problem. Working 7 days for like years, me and this guy worked, I think 5+ years, we did 7 days of work, you know, like non-stop, bro. No nothing. It was just like get up, work, same thing, repeat. Plus doing like, he was studying, I was in the job. It becomes part of your life, and it just becomes so easy. And for you, obviously, it was the same in terms of like, you wanted this thing so bad that training and working at the same time wasn't a hard thing. Whereas, you know, when you think about it like that, you're like, fuck, you used to do that much work and that much training just to get to this place with the potential that it wouldn't work at the end, you know? But obviously in your situation, it's worked. In our situation, it's worked, but it's like, if you think about it that way, it is quite risky, but if you love something, it's just,
It is risky, but man, there's like, to be honest, there's nothing else I'd rather do. I think I'd rather die trying,
100%.
I'd rather die trying doing this than, you know, just going, you know, I probably could have taken another route and then like made like decent money and had a good job and all this, but then I feel like deep down I wouldn't be like happy knowing I didn't try.
It has to be something you fully love.
So whatever people were trying to think about doing, you just you punch it. No matter how old you are or whatever, you just kind of do what I did and don't announce things. Just like block everyone out and just keep to yourself for a bit, and eventually you'll find your way.
Stuff as well, though. You know, I feel
a lot of sacrifice.
A lot of people don't want to sacrifice certain things. Like like for you, probably like, you know, not going out all the time and drinking all the time and chasing other things constantly would be important. I think that's another side of it that you kind of have to understand as well.
But it's easier when you got passion for something, right? Like 100%, I will sacrifice whatever I have to make RPM work and me work or whatever. But if it's something I don't really want to do, I'm like, I'd rather not sacrifice something, you know, if I don't really care about that thing. But so when's your next fight?
So at the moment we're trying to get on Eternal, Perth, Australia. I think that's what the promotion is. That's pretty much what Eugene's told me. Just we're still hopes of getting you on the card. So I'm praying we get matched up soon so I can punch in.
I'm hoping you get as well. I think we briefly spoke about it. We're actually going to be at the UFC in Perth. So we're just, bro, if we can actually be there at the time you have that fight, it'll work out really good, because we'd love to come watch that as well. So fingers crossed. I guess it's just let us know, and if it is, then we'll make sure we're there as well, supporting you.
Are you finding it hard to find fights?
Always. It always is hard, especially at my weight division. Like it's a very scarce division. There are fighters out there, but sometimes they come out of the woods and train for a bit and have fights. But I've noticed a lot of heavyweights have been active in like kind of Oceania area. So I've got a few guys I'm looking at, like just on like there's like a forum page on for MMA. I'm just having a look at like all the shows and who's been fighting at light heavyweight for pro. So I might have to, you know, call some names out.
Do you do that? Like, is that like what kind of happens? Like, do you kind of keep an eye on like where people are going?
I know some people do it. I know I'm not the only one. People like look up these names and go,
like creeping on these dudes.
I might have to start calling out some shots to get me on those cards and getting like maybe the UFC guys to share the call out. You know, so
anyone you're thinking of in particular?
Not at the moment. there's a few like veterans I'm thinking about, you know, trying to ask Eugene to fight, but yeah, it's like, I don't know if they're even fighting anymore.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing, It's just seeing if they're active or not.
Got to get that guy, what's his name? Mo at the Woodworks. The one that the king of the ring was.
What's his name?
Was it Mo?
Yeah, Mo.
Yeah.
He was on. He was supporting him hard. That dude, he was cool. Forget his last name, but he was on. Yeah, nah, sweet, bro. Well, that's exciting. I guess we're looking forward to watching that.
Yeah.
You reckon it's time we
yeah, bro. I think
go for that cruise, bro?
Yeah, bro.
Mean, bro.
Let's go, brother. Good shit, bro.
Pretty awesome cars.
Mad.
Are you enjoying the STI?
Let's see if we get inside, bro.
Yeah, hopefully I can.
Bro, it'll be interesting. Yeah. What? Yo, we made it, baby. We made it, baby. It's all good.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah.
Butterflies, eh, bro? Here we go, bro. Proper one, eh? Send it.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. Far out. I almost don't want to get any fingerprints on it, eh?
Bro, it got everywhere from that night. There was people just like, I don't know why they're like taking photos like this. I'm like, bro, just stand next to it or something.
Comfortable in the end or what? Was it like a bad
Nah, it was actually all good, bro. I thought it would be way worse, eh? Like, it was actually all good. His head wasn't like too, I thought it would be like hitting
I think
the...
I was sitting back and it was all good.
You just let us know if you need anything from us, bro, but you do your thing. We've got our eyes on you as well. You do your thing. If you hopefully let us know about Perth as well, bro. That'll be dope if we can actually do that. Yeah. All right, brother.
See you guys later.
My man, drive safe, bro.
Thank you.
Later, brother.